بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآل محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. Dear sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much again for coming or watching from home. It means the world to me. I really appreciate it. And following the tradition, the habit we started of remembering a group of people when we start, I thought maybe today again we can remember two groups if it's okay. Why not? The first, let's remember all the people who are in hospital right now, going through their treatment or dealing with an illness, and inshallah pray for their speedy recovery. And so if it's okay, let's join me in reciting the salawat for everyone who is in hospital right now. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. The second group of people I wanted to remember, if you agree, is the great scholars we've had in our tradition who have worked so hard throughout time to make sure that the teachings of the Prophet, the teachings of Ahlul Bayt reach us. God knows how much difficulty they've been through to preserve these teachings of the Ahlul Bayt for us. We're here in Khouy Foundation, so it's only worthy to remember Ayatollah Khouy, the great Ayatollah Khouy, that we owe so much to him. In Muharram, if you remember, we were in Dar al-Islam. Every time I would come up, I would see the photo of Said Baqir al-Sadr, another great scholars we've had. You know, in our tradition, we've had so many great scholars, Maraja, who have worked so hard to make sure that these teachings of Ahlul Bayt reach us. So I thought tonight it's only, fair that we remember them. Another great scholar that I also want to remember is Said Musa al-Sadr. He had this beautiful line that I really, really appreciate. He believed that religions have come to help humanity. Religions have come to help humanity find their way to God, to live better lives. And he spent his whole life trying to help people either in guidance or even in their life to make sure that everyone lives with dignity. And he has this line which is so beautiful. It says, اجتمعنا لأجل الإنسان. We have gathered for humanity. And in some way, this is what we're also doing. We've gathered here today to make sure that we learn things that will improve our life. We can be better human beings, help human beings more, help our children. So let's join together and in the honor of all of our great scholars, recite the salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. And now, as they usually say, without further ado, let's start our tonight's discussion. We have so much to cover, inshallah. Yesterday, I spoke about self-knowledge from a kind of bird's view. I said the journey of self-knowledge is that journey of inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So we started from God, we came to this world, and we go back. Or for example, in Surah Teen, what did we read? لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Insan has been created in the best form. ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ السَّافِلِينَ. Then it comes to a place which is the furthest from God, and it will either be stuck here unless إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Unless through his right belief and right actions gets itself out of this place, stuck at the surface, the farthest place from God. Tonight we're going to go a little bit, look at the process of self-knowledge a little bit with a lower view. That one was too high. It went very quickly. Now we want to become a little bit more real tonight, a little bit more practical. Okay, what does it look like from our point of view? And inshallah, tomorrow we'll even go more practical. One of the beautiful things for us a beautiful place for us to start this journey, when we want to think about it, is how we came into this world. You know, there was a time in which all of us were in the wombs of our mothers. And that's kind of where our journey on earth started. In a place in which all our needs were taken care of. We didn't need to worry about whether we're going to be fed or not, if anything bad is going to happen to us or not. No, we were surrounded in the love and care of our mothers. And it's very interesting, if you look at the Arabic language, the word used for womb and love are from the same root, rahim and rahmat. Now we call God Ya Rahman. The womb is called rahim. Because that's a place in which maybe one of the most similar things to what God's love feels like. You know, in Quran, God says, do you doubt meeting me? This is literally the verse of Quran. Do you doubt meeting me? إِنَّهُ عَلَى كُلُّ شَيْءٍ مُحِيطٍ. How can you doubt meeting me while I am surrounding everything? We are living surrounded by God and we doubt whether we'll see Him or not. And one of the places in which we really felt this being surrounded by God's love, where every need was taken, where we felt safe, where we didn't feel worried, was in our mother's wombs. But as we came to this world, we left that place of love and safety, and we realized, oh, now we're in a world in which as soon as we have a need, it's not taken care of. One of the reasons babies cry is because they have a need. They feel a need inside, and previously it was immediately taken care of, but now they have to cry to let the world know, I need help. And one of the first things that a baby learns is to trust his or her mother. You know, many of you have either had children or are having children, or maybe in a few months you will have. Once your beautiful baby comes out and is born, you'll see that the first few weeks, or maybe even the first few months, as soon as mommy goes, it starts crying. Even sometimes mommy is there, just the baby can't feel her, baby starts crying. And you wonder why? I fed you, I did everything. Well, the thing is, it still hasn't learned to trust that even when it can't see you, you're still there. It hasn't still learned to trust that when you disappear, when you go out, you will come back and take care of her when she needs you. So the first thing they say the child learns is to trust that even when I can't see mom, she's there. She's going to come back. She won't disappear. She will take care of me. And most of the things that happen to us later on in life, most of the ways we find it difficult to go in the world is because of some issue with gaining that trust. And I want to say that this is something that happened to all of us. And Imam Hussein in Dua Arafah, it's so beautiful. Imam Hussein tries to look at this story of our birth at a deeper way. Imam says, see, what happened at the moment of birth for us, it wasn't just that now we needed to regain faith that our mother will take care of us. No. We had to learn and regain this trust that God will be there to take care of us. Imam Hussein in Dua Arafah does something so beautiful. Honestly, read Dua Arafah once, not for the thawab, but to understand. And he tells the story of our creation. He says, see, even before you came into this world, God started loving you. You were surrounded by God's love. And then it even says, when you were born, it was God who put your love into the hearts of your caretakers. But the thing is, as soon as you came into this world, you couldn't feel it anymore. And so he says the whole journey we have in our life is to regain that feeling that we can trust God. To regain that feeling that there is someone to take care of us. The same cry that your 2 months baby, 2 weeks old baby does when you're moving a little bit, We may stop crying like that, but internally we are crying our whole life because we still don't feel that we are taken care of. We still don't feel that even though God is surrounding us, and وَعَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مُحِيطٍ, that He is going to take care of our sustenance, everything, we still don't feel that. We get scared. We need to feel love, even though His love is there. So Imam Hussein says, our whole journey now is to regain that trust and find God's love. Feel it, it's already there. So in this view, you're no longer just in your life following religion to seek God's pleasure. No. You're following religion to find and feel that God's love which is already there for you. In the same way that the baby needs to trust that mommy loves her. And as we said, if we don't do this, all sorts of problems that happen to us is because of this. If we find it difficult to make friends, if we find it difficult to start a relationship, to go at a workplace which is a little bit difficult, maybe people are not nice to us, all of this is because we don't feel safe enough. Hope, what is the way? What happens is when we realize this is the situation and that we need to feel that safety and love and connection to God, everything starts to change. You know, there's that beautiful line that they say, when a student is ready, the teacher appears. And I read in a book something even nicer. It says, when the student is ready, teachers appear everywhere. Everywhere you look, you see someone teaching you. And this creates an inner change inside. If before this point, by the way, I'm not saying just by hearing this will happen to you. Oh, no. Inshallah, this is a process that we have to go through. But the first stage of the process is this. If before this you said, for example, you know what, I am upset because my wife is not paying attention to me, or I'm upset because I don't have a wife, or I'm upset because my wife said this to me, my boss said this to me, I'm upset because I look this way, I'm upset because of this, I'm upset because of that, then you realize, no, all of these were teachers to tell you something. You're not upset because that person didn't pay attention to you. You're upset because you want to feel loved. You wanted to get it from that person. Now that person is not giving you love, you feel upset. But ultimately, why are you upset? Because you wanted to feel loved. You wanted to feel respected. You wanted to feel safe. So you realize that all these things outside that made you upset were teachers to tell you that, see, there's something you need. You want to feel loved. You want to feel connected. You want to feel respected. Why do we need to feel all of these things? Where does this need to want to feel loved and safe comes? Because we still haven't fully forgotten when we hadn't come to this earth yet and we were connected with God. It is true that we don't remember the details of it, but we haven't fully forgotten. We have a taste of what it means to be surrounded by God's love, to be united with God. And that is what we are looking in everything we do in this world. You know, there's that beautiful line. They say that, imagine you want to go and explore the world and you want to go bare feet, without any shoes. Everywhere you step, it's going to hurt. Oh, there was a stone. You go a little bit, the path becomes painful. Oh, so what do you have to do? Maybe you have to make sure before you go anywhere, you remove all the stones. Maybe there are some paths that you'll never go. Hope, what is the solution to do that? All you need to do is wear shoes. So at this stage, you realize, instead of making sure everyone out there is treating me with so much love, doesn't say anything that would make me feel upset, or no. All I need to do is to feel that love and safety from inside. Then I wouldn't be needing to seek it outside. Imagine if you want to walk bare feet on the world, there are so many places you can't go. If you expect the safety to come from outside, the love to come from outside, there are so many places you can't go. So many people you have to control to make sure they're the way you want them to be. But at this stage, you say, no, maybe I can change something inside. If I gain that love and safety from my connection with God, from within me, then wherever I am, I will be fine. And so this is now, you slowly start to look within. Please recite salawat. As you do this, by the way, inshallah, later on we'll speak about tomorrow maybe, that how to do these, and like this takes time. I'm not saying like tonight this is going to happen. We're just going through the stages. As you do this, slowly, you become more in touch with yourself. Because see, before this stage, all your attention was outside. I'm upset because this person treated me this way, so in order to fix it, I need to fix them, do this. Our whole attention was outside, with forgotten inside. So now slowly, we become more in touch with ourselves. We learn, for example, that inside us there's such a world. If before this, for example, we just felt low, we just felt sad, and we didn't know what that exactly means, now things become more clear for us. Okay, am I sad? Am I angry? Am I experiencing sorrow? Am I regretting that I maybe missed some opportunities? Which one is it? Right now we just say I'm sad. Okay, which one of this is? Things become more clear for you. Another thing that happens is that you realize, oh, it seems like I have certain view of myself, a fixed self-image that maybe it's okay to change. What do I mean by that? At some point in our life, all of us, we form a view of ourselves and we feel like that is who we are. And everything that doesn't match this rigid, rehearsed self-image, we ignore it. We can't see it. For example, if a man thinks that, oh, I'm a strong person and strong means that I should never cry, whenever he feels like he has to cry or he feels like he needs to show a little bit vulnerability, because that doesn't match his self-image, he ignores that. He literally ignores parts of himself because it doesn't match the self-image he has created. Or how many of us, we have this self-image that I'm not worthy enough, I'm not worthy of love, I'm not lovable. And even when people love us, even when people show love to us, because it's not part of self-image, it never changes us. Maybe our family members will keep showing love to us, but then again tomorrow we're like, no, I'm not worthy of love. Because once you have a fixed self-image, you ignore all the things that do not match it. And not even consciously. No, this happens subconsciously. So slowly you realize that maybe these beliefs inside I have, maybe it's these that are not helping me. Maybe this belief I have that I'm not worthy of love. Maybe this belief I have that I cannot handle life. Maybe this belief I have that I will never be happy. Maybe this belief I have that only bad things will happen to me. Maybe it is these things inside me that are acting like barriers and walls towards me having a good life. So you start being more open to your experiences. You allow your experiences to change the person you are. And you know, yeah, it's okay to change. Let me give you another example. Do you know many people, their view of what marriage is, what a relationship looks like, is formed as a young child looking at the relationship of either their parents or maybe their uncles, other adults. If, for example, in their relatives, men were a little bit harsh to women, that girl will think like, yes, all men are harsh. And she would find it harder to even think about marriage. She may not even know how subtly this was formed in her head. Yet, yes, men are harsh. A rigid image of what the world is like based on childhood experiences. But at this stage, you become open. You realize that, no, hang on a second. No, there's that couple among our relatives. The guy is not harsh. So slowly, you allow that to come and change your worldview. Well, maybe marriage is something I could consider. Maybe all men are not harsh. Maybe marriage is not all about power games. No, maybe it could be about love, about understanding. So the person becomes open to new experiences. As you open up as you try to take on life and receive life, not based on your previous understandings, not based on these boxes that you were putting everything in. Oh, men are like this, fathers are like this, I am like this. You start to open up and experience the reality of the world. Another thing that happens is that you start encountering something inside yourself. See, before this, many of us were even scared to think about, what am I going to find when I look inside? What if I become so scared of what I find there? What if I'm full of hate? What if I'm full of resentment? But then you slowly realize that no. Yes, there's a part of you that maybe is carrying hate. Yes, maybe there's a part of you that has resentments. But that's not all who you are. The deeper you go inside, you realize that no, there is also love. There's a part of me that doesn't hate but loves. And slowly, what happens is that you start trusting yourself more. See, one of the things that happens, by the way, this is most of us, if not all. Most of our life, we're not even a person yet. What do I mean by that? We live our life based on what other people tell us. Either our parents or culture or teachers. Even when we disagree with them, we are still doing what? Going against what they want. So we're defining ourselves either in forms of what they want, or maybe if we don't like them. For example, if maybe the religious teacher was annoying, in order to annoy her, I'll do the opposite. Or for example, if my parents are annoying me, in order to annoy them, I'll do the opposite of what they want. So whether we follow teachers, parents, or culture, or we go against them, we are defining ourselves on terms of others. Either we do what they want of us, or we do something to spite them, but the opposite. We always ask ourselves, if I do this, what are they going to think about me? If I do this, what would my maybe classmates think about me? What does that person think I should do? But at this stage, you start asking yourself another question. What do I think I should be doing? If I do this, what does it mean to me? How many times do we just do something to, for example, annoy our parents or this? At some point, like, okay, but let's say I even annoy them, but what does that mean to me? Do I want to be doing it or not? And it is only at this stage that you grow as a person. Do you remember yesterday we were speaking about this idea that insan, all of us, were Khalifa of God, but in potential, we're like a seed that can turn into an apple tree? It's at this stage when you start saying that I want to live life not on other people's terms. I want to go inside and see what I feel and think. It is only at this stage that as a person you start to emerge. It is at this stage that the insan is going from a seed to a plant. And I want to tell you, it is only at this stage that Islam as a religion starts. Before this, everything we did was only the surface of it. Islam, at its depth, only starts here, once you emerge as an insan. Taklif, becoming a baligh, this is its real meaning. You say, right now, before this, I was someone that I wasn't maybe grown up enough or spiritually mature enough to decide how I should live in this world, to have a communication with its creator, but now I am ready. Now I am ready. I'm ready to be God's audience. And the beauty of it is this: when you announce to God that I am ready for direct communication with you, God replies back. And you start seeing that within you, the thing that a lot of us call fitra, within you, there is a place in which it gives you guidance. It tells you what's the right thing to do. If before this, let's say you wanted to go meet new people, and you had to ask others, by the way, for example, I'm going here, what should I say? In every situation, you had to check with others what to do. And if you were doing something new, you were always scared. What should I do? Now you see that, no, You trust the being that you are. I can handle it. I will go, I will meet that situation, and I will trust that within me, and answers will come on how to deal with that and elevate that situation. I'm competent enough, and I can do it. And it is at this stage that you emerge as a person. You're acting in the world as not as a potential insan, as an actualized insan. And as I said, slowly you realize what was Islam. Islam wasn't a series of fixed answers that you had to memorize. Islam was about a way of being in the world. What is that way? What is Islam actually representing? Well, we have in the Quran. It's a journey of seeking the truth and acting upon it. And a lot of the times, where does this truth come to? In addition to the guidance and the teachings of the Prophet, but how many ahadith we have that they say in the same way that God sends prophet outside, you have even prophets inside. It means that God will speak to you directly. Imam Hussein in Dua Arafah mentions a very beautiful line. It says, وَأَوْجَبْتَ عَلَيَّ حُجَّتَكَ بِأَنْ أَلْهَمْتَنِي مَعْرِفَتَكَ. This is Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He says, God, the thing, for example, on the Day of Judgment, let's say, this is not that deep, but let's say on the Day of Judgment, if God tells you, for example, Jawad, why didn't you live a good life? Jawad, why did you make a mistake? Right? Then we're like, God, masalan, I didn't know. God wouldn't say that I sent you religions. Why didn't you act according to them? Imam Hussein says, no, God will tell you something else. Didn't I inside you made you feel when something was wrong? Do you see the difference? Imam Hussein says God's ultimate hujjah upon us is that direct communication, that fitrah. That's even how we choose our religion. We study different religion and we see, this one matches more with my fitrah. It makes more sense. Imam Hussein says, وَأَوْجَبْتَ عَلَيَّ حُجَّتَكَ بِأَنْ أَلْهَمْتَنِي مَعْرِفَتَكَ. So on the Day of Judgment, God will tell you, see, before you were breaking her heart, didn't you feel inside that's not a nice thing to do? That inner direct communication with God. And Imam Hussein in Dua Arafah mentions 5 ways in which God speaks to every human being. Either through a feeling or maybe through an event in their life. Well, we've spoken about Dua Arafah before, you can refer there. But at this stage, you realize that, Islam is a journey of seeking the truth and acting upon it. And a lot of the times, the truth comes inside. And God says, if you act according to the truth that you feel, the truth that you find inside yourself, الَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Act according to what you feel it's right inside. I will show you the rest of the way. لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. مَنْ عَمِلَ بِمَا عَلِمَ أَظْلَمَهُ اللَّهُ مَا لَمْ يَعْلَمْ, as the hadith says. Once you act according to that part of it which you know, God will teach you the rest. So at this stage, you realize that Islam is not something you can have once and have it for the rest of your life, like us. We think like we're Muslims and this is going to be there for the rest of our life. Islam says no. You can be Muslim 1 minute, next time leave it. How? Imagine you're in an argument. You're in an argument with your partner or with your child. Halfway through the argument, you realize, they were right. Actually, the mistake was your fault. A truth appeared to you. Do you accept that or not? Maybe it's so difficult to accept that you were wrong, so you continue fighting. Quran says, see, at that point you stop being a Muslim. Islam is actively seeking the truth and acting according to it. And that truth could be as simple as maybe in between you and your partner in an argument, or even with your children. Maybe your children want something, and they're right, and you realize it halfway through the argument, but it's so difficult to accept daddy is wrong, so you still remain angry. Quran says, see, at that moment you stop being a Muslim. Because truth appeared to you, you ignored it. And this is why you see that in Quran, Islam is not just referred to people like us who call themselves Muslim. No, Islam was even used before our Prophet. In the story of the magicians of Fir'aun, what do they say? رَبَّنَا أَفْرِغْ عَلَيْنَا صَبْرًا وَتَوَفَّنَا مُسْلِمِينَ. The magicians of Fir'aun lived way before our Prophet, but still in the Quran, what are they asking God? God, give us patience, shower us with patience, وَتَوَفَّنَا مُسْلِمِينَ, and help us keep our Islam till the last moment of our life. What does that show you? Islam is not something you can be sure you will have for the rest of your life, because it's a difficult process. It's about every second of your life looking for what is right and acting according to it. And who among us can guarantee that they've done that? It's a very difficult thing. In Quran, what do we have that verse? إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَالَّذِينَ. Let me read it for you from here so that I don't make a mistake. Surah Baqarah, verse 62. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَالَّذِينَ هَادُوا وَالنَّصَارَى وَالصَّابِئِينَ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا فَلَهُمْ أَجْرُهُمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ وَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. What does God say in the Quran? The believers, Allah some translate this as, for example, Muslims. وَالَّذِينَ هَادُوا, people from Jewish faith. وَالنَّصَارَى, Christians. وَالصَّابِئِينَ, another group. مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ, among them, among all of these, whether you call yourself Muslim, whether you call yourself Jewish, among them, the ones who believe in God, believe in the truth, because God is what? Al-Haq. لِيَتَبَيَّنَ لَهُمْ أَنَّهُ الْحَقِّ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ, and they believe that there is more to this world, there's يَوْمُ الْآخِرَةِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا, and they act according to the truth that they have found. فَلَهُمْ أَجْرُهُمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ, they will have the reward with their Lord. وَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ, they should fear not and they should grieve not. Allama Tabatabai, when he reaches this verse, he says that, see, God is trying to tell us, this is, by the way, Allama Tabatabai, volume 6 of Al-Mizan. He says, what is God trying to tell us is that, maybe you can call yourself whatever you want. You can call yourself Muslim. I don't care what you're calling yourself. I care about how you're acting in the world. What's the point of, for example, calling yourself a Muslim if you're not following the truth? If you're not seeking and acting upon it? Of course, we need to also seek the truth and find it. If a person hasn't realized that Islam is the truth yet, Allah says if they're actively seeking for it on the Day of Judgment, God wouldn't tell them to try harder. If they tried their hardest, what could they do? And sometimes I see this, that people must say, by the way, people from other religions, will they go to heaven or not? Do you see there seems to be a kind of arrogant assumption there, that I'm in the heaven, will others join us or not? God is saying here, see, who gave you that guarantee? Who gave you that guarantee that you're sorted? Before you stop thinking about others, who gave you the guarantee that you are sorted? Do you remember? We were speaking in Surah Hadid. God was literally telling to Muslims that be careful. Otherwise, look at your hearts, how hardened they've become. Do you feel God right now or not? Do you feel His love or not? If not, do you feel that flow of connection and life from God or not? If not, طَالَ الْأَمَدُ فَقَسَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ. If that's not what you're feeling, well, wake up. You're in dire situation yourself before you worry about others. And I want to tell you that part of the reason a lot of people haven't, for example, seen the truth in the message of our Prophet, in the message of Ahlul Bayt, we are part of the reason for that. We have made the truth so distorted. We have lived in such way as Muslims, not everyone, and as Shias, that a lot of people may look at our actions and this option never become livable for them, which is what Imam Sadiq is saying. Imam Sadiq in that famous hadith, what does he say? كُونُوا لَنَا زَيْنَا وَلَا تَكُونُوا عَلَيْنَا شَيْنَا. What is he saying in this hadith? He's saying, see, there could be so many truth-seeking people out there that they want to, for example, see, okay, should we go and follow the teachings of, for example, Ahlul Bayt? And they look at their followers and they're like, nah. We may be the reason why so many people stop. And then on the Day of Judgment, Imam Sadiq is literally saying that they won't be punished because they tried. They looked at us, it didn't look good. We will be punished. And it's so interesting because the imams really cared about this. You know, I've mentioned these stories a few times in my lectures. There's a group of people who, for example, go to an imam and they say, we are the leaders of Shia in our city. They go to the imam doesn't allow them in their house. Not because imam wasn't kind enough, imam was trying to wake them up. After a while, after a long time of staying in the city, and imam doesn't allow them in his house, I think it's Imam Reza or maybe another imam, I'm mistaken, so I'll leave it like this. After a few weeks, they say, if imam doesn't allow us, we go back to our city, everyone will be like, hey, these are the leaders. It's going to be so embarrassing. Imam says, okay, let them come in. And then when they go in, you know what imam tells them? Imam tells them, see, don't call yourself Shia, call yourself Muhib of Ahlul Bayt. He says, see, Shia, and he mentions a few of the companions of Imam. Those are the ones who showed the world who we are. You guys, for example, you love us, that's beautiful. But when you call yourself that we are the Shia of Ali and people look at you and they don't like it that much, you could be a Shia of Ali and go and cheat on your wife, or maybe have another relationship and your wife doesn't even know, or you're rude to your children, or you do this, or you lie, or you're angry, or you don't look like us. People may look at you and never come towards us. So, what were we talking about? Self-knowledge. We said at this stage, what happens is that you realize Islam is not something that you can say, I have it and keep it for the rest of your life. Every moment you have to be careful. It is such a high standard that they've given us. It is so beautiful if we manage to get there, but we also have to know that it requires a lot of hard work. Please recite salawat. At this stage, another thing you realize in your journey of self-knowledge, in the same way that we said, Islam at this stage is not a fixed product. It's a process that you have to make sure every moment of your life you carry. Every moment you look for truth actively and you allow the truth to change you. You realize that you are not a fixed self either. You realize that you are also a being in process. This is why some, for example, Hukama say that it's better to call us human becoming as opposed to human being. Why? Because our task in this life is to keep going through these changes. Do you remember yesterday what we were saying? That we are trying to be a mirror that reflects God. Well, at this stage you realize that as a mirror, maybe you can show God in a distorted way. You know how, for example, there are mirrors that may show you taller or maybe bigger? You realize that, oh, as a mirror of God, I could also maybe in some ways be distorted. So what I have to do is to look in the world for ways in which I'm wrong, and once I find the truth, incorporate that, change myself, and become a better mirror. So after all, I'm not that very fixed either. I'm a thing in process. I'm making myself with every decision. Let me give you an example. Imagine you were a kind of person that thought that this ADHD thing is something people have made up. Nah, people with ADHD, these children, they don't have an issue. They're lazy. Imagine if you thought this. This shows that in some way, the mirror you were to reflect God was distorted. Now, let's say either your own child or maybe a child of a friend of yours. You actually met a child, an individual with ADHD. And you realize that no, this child is not lazy. This is not something fake. This is an actual issue that this child is dealing with. In fact, this child could be more hardworking than any other child. See, you had a view of the world. You had structured yourself in a way that you understood this in a certain way. But now you are faced with the truth. Now, you can either accept it, gain this part of the truth, bring it into yourself and change yourself, or you can ignore it. And in life, all the ways in which we are distorted, all the ways in which our opinions are wrong, something will come to our life to show us that. In the same way that maybe you yourself were blessed enough to have a child with ADHD, or maybe a friend of yours, and you met a beautiful individual like that yourself, and you saw how hardworking they are, that this is not at all about being with lazy, it's just the way the brain works. And we have to make sure we create an education that works for them. Once you realize this, you can decide whether I want to be a Muslim or not. If you want to be Muslim, you incorporate that truth inside, and as painful as it is to accept I was wrong all this time and I was judging people, you accept that and you change yourself. And you literally become a better mirror of God. Every time we encounter truth, we are restructuring ourselves. And I want to tell you even something more. Please recite salawat. Every time you learn something in the world, a truth in the world, and you accept that, not just in your mind, but you allow that truth to become part of you and change yourself, you have now incorporated a little bit more of a godly life inside you. You're going to go that much deeper in this world. You were stuck in the surface, now you're going to go deeper. Because what is ultimately truth in this world? Who is haq in this world? God. Every time you see some way in which you were wrong and you admit that and you change yourself, you go a little bit deeper in the world and you incorporate a little bit more of God inside yourself. And now I want to say that the way in which we get to do this process of going into the world, trying to find the truth, and once we find it, acting according to it, this also needs a lot of love, because it's not easy to admit we're wrong. If you don't have love and compassion for yourself, a lot of times you may get defensive. Please, by the way, pay attention. I'm a little bit behind and I want to try to finish this in 5 minutes. But perhaps all the things we said was introduction for what I'm going to be saying in the next 5 minutes. I want to tell you this, that in life, this is what we're trying to do. And I'm going to also mention how this process of self-knowledge slowly leads to a knowledge of God. The first thing I've already told you, that as you go inside, you find yourself within you, a part of you that can find the truth. You start trusting yourself that, I can't find the truth. You go in the world, you act according to the truth you found, more truths will manifest to you. Every time you act according to that and you bring that truth inside yourself, you are becoming more godly. Because what is truth other than God? The truth is God. And then this truth could either come in small doses, like for example in an argument, as we said, maybe in a small argument with your wife, halfway through you realize, she was right. You incorporate that inside yourself. Or it comes in larger doses. Do you know what happens to us, for example, when we go on a maybe Hajj or on a ziyarah, and we feel so changed, something inside us changes so much, we feel so much awe and wonder. What is that? We've encountered a larger dose of truth. Either in Mecca or maybe in Karbala in a ziyarah trip, or for some people even seeing the mountain that reminds them. A lot of people have this in nature. They go to the mountain for hiking, and just the majesty of the mountain, how great it is, and makes them think of, how great the Creator would be. See, that's a larger dose of truth. And if they allow that truth to come inside them and humble them, that awe and wonder, that is a sense of encountering God. But I want to tell you that it could be even more. You can even encounter God in larger doses. You can encounter God. Imagine so far, what are we doing? We're a mirror that reflects God. We keep trying to look at the world, see the ways in which our mirror is distorted, fix it to reflect God more. We keep trying to fix it, look again, find the ways we're wrong, fix it, make it larger, become a better mirror. Every time we accept a mistake, we're becoming a larger mirror. to reflect reality more. But there comes a time when you encounter the reality, when you encounter God and Haq at such level, at such a strong dose, that you realize no matter how many times I fix myself, no matter how many distortions in the mirror that I fix, I will never be able to fully reflect the reality that God is. You know when Imam Ali in Dua Kumail says, أَنَا الذَّلِيلُ الْحَقِيرُ الْمِسْكِينُ, there's so much humbleness there. I'm dhalil, I'm haqir, I'm dha'if. That's not because Imam Ali doesn't have self-esteem. That is the highest level. That is only humbleness. We call that higher humbleness. You know, in the same way that, for example, some hukama, they say, after all these 60, 70 years of reading, now I know that I know nothing. That's not like me saying I know nothing. Well, because I haven't studied. When Imam Ali says, أَنَا الذَّلِيلُ الْحَقِيرُ الْمِسْكِينُ, he doesn't have self-esteem issue. He has encountered the greatness of God to the extent that he says, God, in front of you, no matter what I am, is insignificant. Which is what he said in Khutb al-Muttaqin in Nahj al-Balagha as well. That God is so great in their eyes that صَغُرَ مَا دُونَهِ فِي أَعْيُنِهِمْ. Everything else loses significance in comparison to that. And this is the highest level. And the beauty of it is this, that at this stage, before that, what was our job? We kept trying to be a better mirror, to reflect more of God, to reflect more of God. We kept trying to make sure we're a better mirror, better mirror. We wanted to reflect more of God. We wanted to be more godly. At that stage, you may get so fascinated by the beauty of God, by the truth of God, by the love of God, that you even forget you were meant to be a mirror. You fall in love with that beauty so much, you realize this is what you were looking for from the moment you came into this world. In every safety you were looking for, in every love you were looking for, this is what you wanted. And it's so nice, as Imam Sajjad said in Munajat 15, Ya Muna Qulub al-Mushtaqin. Everything anyone ever wanted was to get to hear. In everything I was searching, this is what I was searching for. La ilaha illallah. That thing which is meant to make you a Muslim is here. La ilaha. There is no desire. There is nothing to seek. There is nothing to worship other than God. All the things I wanted in my life, here they are. I was looking for you. I just didn't know. And at that point, you fall in love with this beauty so much, you even forget you exist. كُلُّ مَنْ عَلَيْهَا فَانٍ. Everyone on the face of this earth will disappear. وَيَبْقَى وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. And nothing will remain apart from your God. ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. You fall in love with that reality so much that you may even forget you exist. And as a mirror, the burden, the responsibility, the pressure of reflecting the ultimate reality, you let go of that. Because it was so difficult. You let go of that and you shatter. And I was thinking, how incredible is it that tonight we're going to be remembering an individual who not only reflected God and the Prophet in the most beautiful way, but there was a mirror of God that was shattered. Irban irba. Tonight, let's join together and through the beautiful recitations of Mullah Nuruddin al-Qadhimi, remember Ali Akbar tonight. Please recite the salawat.